What's up, little guffers? Joey Marino here from Grown Up Fantasy Football, and today I am talking to you about rookie sleeper wide receivers for Dynasty leagues in 2021. So if you are about to do a Dynasty startup or you're just waiting for the rookie draft, better listen up. If you haven't already, or if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button down below. It is the lifeblood of Grown Up Fantasy Football. Check us out on Twitter, too, at GrownUpFF, and on Facebook at Grown Up Fantasy Football. All right, so we are talking sleeper rookie wide receivers in 2021. Now, keep in mind, 2020 was pretty much an abbreviated season for all college teams, so production may not be exactly there, but I think we can still make an assumption on some of these guys, even before the draft. But I got my little handy-dandy notebook here, and at number 5, I have Tutu Atwell from Louisville. Now, Tutu Atwell is 5'9", 165, so he's definitely on the smaller side, but production was there. He had 46 catches, 625 yards, and 7 touchdowns. So the guy can really get it done. And the thing is, he has great speed, elite speed. He's a home run hitter with the ball in his hands, and he's super versatile. So I think NFL teams will take note of that and probably use him, potentially in a gadget role. He could be at punt returns doing special teams work to get started. But I think his value is going to be there definitely, probably in the later half of the season, depending on where he goes. Now, I see him as a day 2 guy, definitely. I think he's a late second round, probably mid third round pick. But Tutu Atwell has a lot of potential. I think he can really pop off in the NFL, and he's my number 5 guy. At number 4, my 4th best, sleeper is Ronald Moore from Purdue. Now, he has a lot of hype around him already, so he's not super high on the list of sleepers, but he's 5'9", 180, so he's not the biggest guy, and he's super versatile and has very, very sure hands. He can move, he can line up anywhere on the field and get in space. He can get separation from all kinds of cornerbacks in the Big Ten. So the thing about Ronald Moore has been injuries. He went through a few injuries for the past couple of years. His production was pretty low, only 35 catches in 2020, 29 in 2019. But in 2018, his freshman year, he had 114 catches for 1,258 yards and 12 touchdowns. So the guy can do it as long as he stays healthy. I think the health it's definitely a dip in his numbers, and it may cause a dip in his draft stock. So I think he's a day 2 guy. Some people are talking about him late first round. I could see that just on talent alone. But, health is a thing. So I think he could go mid to late second round. Probably should be early second round. But a lot of value in Ronald Moore that I see. So I like him a lot as a sleeper. My number 3 sleeper is Taurian Terry from Florida State. Now, Taurian Terry is not one of these smaller guys. He comes in at 6'4", 210, so great size. Now, his production was a little low in 2020, 23 for 239 and 2. It was an abbreviated season for Florida State. They had a few games canceled, and he had some injuries he was dealing with. But in 2019, he was 60 catches for 1,188 yards and 9 touchdowns. So the guy can produce. He didn't have a lot of help at Florida State, but he's a prototypical NFL-sized wide receiver. I think he can definitely make a move when he gets on a roster and potentially be a wide receiver too. I think he has a really bright future in the league. At number 2, I have Elijah Moore from Ole Miss. Now, this guy the hype is starting to build around Elijah Moore from what I've seen, and the hype is well-deserved. Now, he's only 5'9", 185. He's a lot smaller than a lot of these other bigger wide receivers, but he had 86 catches for 1,193 yards and 8 touchdowns. So production does not care about size for Elijah Moore. Now, I think some of that came from being in a Lane Kiffin offense where we've seen a one wide receiver have just a dominant year like Amari Cooper did in 2014 when Lane Kiffin was at Alabama. But Elijah Moore is a great wide receiver. He put up 143 yards on Alabama and 277 yards on Florida, two of the SEC's better defenses this past year. Now, I think he's probably a day 2 guy, probably mid, maybe early to mid second round. But he has a lot of upside, a lot of upside. And I think he's going to make his way into a depth chart and, probably be a really good wide receiver 2 or 3. I think the size keeps him from playing a whole lot on the perimeter, but we're seeing a shift in the NFL with smaller wide receivers, not these Julio Jones, DK Metcalf, huge guys. So I think Elijah Moore fits the bill there, and I think he can make a splash in the NFL. So my number 1 sleeper for 2021, these rookie wide receivers, is Travon Grimes out of Florida. Now, Travon Grimes is 6'4", 218. Ideal size, for I was just talking about the NFL's going smaller. Well, Travon Grimes, does not fit that mold, but he fits the Julio Jones, AJ Green, Calvin Johnson, T.O., these big guys that can really muscle their way into getting catches. Now, Travon Grimes, I think, was criminally underrated because he was on an offense that had Kadarius Toney and Kyle Pitts at Florida. So, yeah, they're going to make... They stole all the headlines, and Travon Grimes was just quietly plugging away for a 38-reception, 589-yard, 9-touchdown season. Now, yes, it was an abbreviated season, and yes, Kyle Pitts and Kadarius Toney were on that same team. But if Travon Grimes was on another offense, he'd be the number 1 wide receiver wherever he was at, probably with the exception of Alabama. But Travon Grimes is super, super talented. He gets great separation and off of SEC cornerbacks, so he can do it in the league. I think he gets a shot to be, on a roster and definitely makes it play at like a wide receiver 2 somewhere he goes. Could potentially be a wide receiver 1. Travon Grimes has all the talent, all the size, and the guy doesn't have a lot of tread on the tires, really. So he could probably make a really big impact, possibly for years to come, wherever he goes. But I really like Travon Grimes in this draft. But that's going to do it for my top 5 rookie sleeper wide receivers for 2021. To run through that list again, you get Tutu Atwell from Louisville at number 5, Ronald Moore from Purdue at number 4, number 3, Taurian Terry from Florida State, number 2, Elijah Moore from Ole Miss, and number 1, Travon Grimes from Florida. So leave a comment. Tell me what you think of my sleepers. If you agree with them, if you disagree with some of these guys, if you have other guys that you think are sleepers, let me know in the comments, or maybe not if you don't want people to try to get them in your Dynasty drafts. But hope this information helps you out, helps you win your Dynasty startup draft or your rookie draft coming up. Be sure to subscribe, be sure to grow up, and be sure to get guffed.